You reach for your phone, tap an app icon, and it opens instantly. It's an action so routine, you barely even register the physical boundary you just crossed. But if we freeze time at the exact moment of contact, the physical reality of the interaction becomes clear. Your finger is pressing against a fraction of a millimeter of rigid, unyielding glass. That protective layer is an electrical insulator. By the laws of physics, it is entirely blind to human touch. It cannot feel pressure, and it certainly cannot read your intent to open an application. Because the glass itself is inert, the perception of a responsive screen relies on a microscopic sensor network waiting just beneath the surface, engineered specifically to be disrupted. Directly under the glass sits a transparent grid made of indium tin oxide. A constant electrical current flows through the driving lines of this grid, while intersecting sensing lines continuously monitor the baseline voltage, maintaining a steady electrostatic field. The human body is conductive. When your finger enters this field, it draws away a tiny amount of charge. This creates a highly localized drop in mutual capacitance. A dedicated touchscreen controller chip detects this analog voltage drop and immediately calculates its exact X and Y coordinates on the grid. The controller translates those coordinates into a digital interrupt request. Firing that signal down into the phone's architecture triggers a strict countdown. The device now has roughly 100 milliseconds to render the app before your brain perceives a delay. That interrupt signal races inward from the screen controller, plunging deeper into the device's hardware. Its destination is the system on a chip. This single silicone wafer integrates the phone's CPU, GPU, and memory controllers into one unified package. The operating system's input manager catches the signal, cross-referencing the physical grid coordinates with the graphical interface to confirm you tapped a specific app icon. The microscopic proximity of these components is a strict physical necessity. If these chips were separated across a traditional motherboard, the electrical travel time alone would cause the system to miss its 100-millisecond deadline. With the target confirmed, the CPU issues the command to launch the application. To save precious time, the system avoids starting from absolute zero. Instead, a process known as Zygote instantly forks a pre-warmed, lightweight replica of itself to act as the runtime container for the new app. The container is ready, but it's empty. The CPU now needs the app's actual code, visual assets, and logic, which are stored far away in the phone's non-volatile memory. Down inside the phone's flash storage architecture, data is housed in microscopic, vertically stacked towers of memory cells. The memory controller extracts the application's permanent binary code by reading the specific electrical states of electrons trapped inside floating gates. Once extracted, those raw binaries are fired across the high-speed system bus. They are deposited directly into LPDDR RAM. This creates a highly volatile, ultra-low latency workspace, allowing the CPU to read and manipulate the application's variables instantly. Attempting to run the app directly from permanent flash storage would create a severe data bottleneck. The resulting visual stutter would immediately break the illusion of a fluid digital environment. The CPU efficiently manages the app's logic and thread loops, but it lacks the hardware architecture to rapidly calculate and draw the millions of individual pixels required to fill a modern display. To handle the visuals, the CPU packages its draw instructions and hands them off to the graphics processing unit. The GPU deploys thousands of parallel arithmetic cores. These process the layout math simultaneously, generating geometric vector outlines for every screen element. Through rasterization, the GPU mathematically translates those vectors into a strict flat matrix of discrete colored pixels. This fully calculated image is then written into a dedicated section of memory known as the frame buffer. The GPU's brute force parallel processing takes abstract mathematical logic and converts it into the visual language you interact with. Despite all of this rapid computation, the fully rendered app interface still exists entirely as invisible electrical data resting in memory. The display controller steps in, reading that completed frame buffer and syncing its operation to the exact refresh interval of the screen. It pushes highly precise amounts of current across the thin film transistor backplane of the AMOLED display. That current strikes individual organic light-emitting diodes, igniting microscopic red, green, and blue subpixels at varying intensities. In this synchronized burst of light, the digital calculations cross the physical threshold, re-entering the physical world as visible photons. Back on the surface, the screen instantly fills with color. In human time, your finger is just beginning to lift away from the display. Between the moment of impact and the moment of release, the device registered a capacitance drop, forked a system process, retrieved deep flash memory, rasterized a vector matrix, and ignited millions of individual diodes. Smartphone engineering synchronizes this chain of physical and digital events so rapidly that your brain perceives the entire sequence as a single moment of magic.